So for the last night here, we had a bunk room at the Millennium Inn. The truck needed some maintenance before we could get on the road. So I had a bunk room here. You can see it's basically just a bed. Excuse the fact I slept in it last night. A bed, and that's it. Chair, and yeah, that's that. And then we are going to get on the road here shortly. It's prime time, baby. So let's go over a weekend in review. It's been a week since I started. July 4th, I went out. Now it's the following Saturday. And in the Pittston, Pennsylvania terminal, we had a wiper motor blow on us last night in the middle of a rainstorm. So we waited until the rain stopped and then got it over here to the terminal. And we have an appointment tomorrow to get that motor swapped out and fixed and get us back on the road. But so over the course of this last week, we got in 3,700 miles, I think. So we went from, let me see if I can track where we went. We started off, well, we left Springfield last Saturday, 4th of July, went to Pennsylvania, dropped in Pennsylvania, picked up in a different spot in Pennsylvania, went from there to Indiana, dropped in Indiana, picked another one up in Indiana, went down to Arkansas, dropped in Arkansas, picked up another load in Arkansas, and took that back up here to Pennsylvania again. And then here in Pennsylvania, we were only just down the road from the drop when the blower motor, or the windshield wiper motor broke. So we were able to deliver. And then we got here this morning and we're able to get some things done. I'm doing some laundry right now, super cheap, 50 cents a load to wash, 50 cents a load to dry. So you're not going to get that price at any laundromat. So while you're at the terminal, you know, you do what you can. And then we went, there's a China buffet place over by the Walmart here. We went over there for lunch today. Delicious. I definitely recommend it if you're at the Pittston terminal. And then we went to Walmart, got a few things, you know, some groceries. I needed some pods for laundry because I had used my last couple while I was in Springfield. Yeah, just a couple of things there. But it's been a pretty good week. Like I said, 3,700 miles for a first week. Not bad. Not fantastic, but not bad. It could definitely have been worse. Could definitely have been better. But my trainer at this point is comfortable turning the truck over to me and going to sleep. So that says something about his confidence in my ability to operate the truck. And he reached out to our fleet manager and told him he thought I would be ready around 36, which would shave off about 4,000 miles from the 40 that they had originally told me I would be doing. But that's neither here nor there, whatever it takes. But I got a couple of opportunities to work on my backing. Did some angle backing twice now. Did several straight backing. I know in the beginning he was very cautious about letting me back the truck up. I think he wanted more to see, for me to see, you know, the angles and so forth that he was using. But with the experience I have with smaller trailers, it isn't too far off, except for the fact that these trailers come around a lot slower than a utility trailer or a boat trailer. So yeah, so we've covered probably about half of the country now at this point. We've done a couple loads for Tyson, chicken, We did a load for Walmart, which, just a heads up, if you are ever pulling a Walmart load, do not be late. We had gotten stuck leaving the shipper. There was a train broken down on the tracks, so we couldn't get out of there. We were blocked in. When we finally did get out, we were, running a bit behind. Got to the drop-off, which was a Walmart DC, late. And when I say late, I mean like a half an hour late. And they rejected the load. We had to reschedule, and we didn't get in there until the following night. So yeah, if you have a Walmart load, be conscientious that you better be there on time, or they will reject it and make you sit, perishable or not. Yeah, they're very adamant about having your stuff on time. But on the road wise, we've hit some weather, some rain. When I first started, he had me locked down at 57 miles an hour. That was the top speed. And over the course of this week, that's crept up, and now the truck is governed at 65, and that's what I'm running, 65. Of course, if weather comes up or anything like that, we slow it down and keep it reasonable. You can be pulling up to 80,000 pounds. My very first load, which was actually a little nerve-wracking, was like 79,600 with full fuel when we left the terminal. So that was a little nerve-wracking, having such a heavy load for my very first pull, but everything went well. Sleeping took a little bit of getting used to, sleeping in the moving truck, because you bounce around a lot in there. But once you get used to it, now I seem, and it's only a week, but I seem to sleep better now when the truck is moving than when it stops, because the air conditioning in the back, when it's running off the APU, is just not as strong as when the truck is running and it's running off the full diesel engine. It's much cooler back there, much stronger in the back when it's running off the engine. So yeah, that covers pretty much, the plans and what's gone over this week. And then I wanted to go over what so many people seem to have questions about, and to a lot of people it's the most important thing, the pay. So I got a settlement this week, and the week's cut off on Wednesday at 4 p.m. So this settlement check was actually still half a week in Springfield waiting on my trainer. It would have been Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday started running. Okay, so at Prime they guarantee you in your TNT training phase $900 a week. Of course, we take taxes out of that. You're a company driver, so they take taxes out, so you can count on whatever that is. And then if you got a CPAP machine and they're taking payments for that, or if you're in PSD and borrowed money and they're taking payments from that, that's going to be deducted from your pay as well. However, the way they work it once you are on the truck is you get paid for your shift. So we've been running 10.5-hour shifts. Like, I drive the truck for 10.5 hours, he drives the truck for 10.5 hours. And then they add 4 hours to whatever your on-duty time is for the day. So if I run 10.5 hours, I'm getting paid for 14.5 hours. The rate of pay, I would have to go back and look at my settlement sheet, but I believe it is $14 an hour. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not 100% sure. But I did get paid those 2 days while I was still in Springfield at the rate, the same rate as I had the week before. I think it's $128 a day or something close to that for those 2 days. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, ultimately for this week, it worked out to be, because we had a couple of days where we were in detention. Basically, that's when you get to a shipper and they take what seems like forever to either load you or unload you in a live load situation where you don't have a drag and drop, where you just drop the trailer, pick up it empty. It ended up where I had 5 of those sitting days. 2 were before we left, and then 3 during the week, where I didn't actually drive any hours, so you get your sitting rate because you're available. You just don't drive, so you get that 128. Then on the days you do drive, like I said, we're running a 10.5-hour shift, so you get 14.5 hours of pay for those days. So ultimately, like I said, they guarantee you 900. I made close to 1,000 this week, and that was really only 2 days of shift, because of detention and not having been on the road the beginning of the week. So all things considered, I'm happy. I think, Prime's living up to what they promised me. I'm getting the experience I need to be more comfortable behind the wheel of the truck. Slowly getting more experience backing, and developing my skill in that area, and moving towards completion of TNT 1 week at a time. So yeah, like I said, this video, because the pay week cuts off on Wednesday and I post on Sundays, doesn't have a full week settlement. But yeah, next week you can look forward to a video where it'll be the first full driving week settlement. However, we are going to have a day down because of the breakdown, and then sitting here at the Pittston terminal for a day. So it'll be another one of the $128 days, and then we'll see how many driving and down days next week and see where we get to this week. Maybe we'll get across to the west half of the country, but we'll see. We take it as it comes, one load at a time, keeping the wheel side down, and we will talk to you next week.